Where should we begin here? George Lucas? Should we start there? Let's start there, ladies and gentlemen. George Lucas! Come on down. Yes, we will start talking about the rise of Skywalker, but you guys got to understand something. There's a difference between what you've been seeing about the George Lucas saga and the difference between the Disney saga. It was explained by Lucas himself. But a lot of you don't listen to George Lucas. So you leave that up to me. And so I must do the work for you. As this looked like it was going to be a great marriage, but things changed. And what I mean by that is things change. And no longer was Disney interested in George Lucas' ideas. But that's not the end all be all. The end all be all here for Star Wars is a little something different. For Star Wars, it's completely something else altogether. And for George Lucas, it means different things. Star Wars means different things to different people. But for George Lucas, it meant something else entirely. Thank you, Taekwon. Well, when everybody donates to the page and hit the Cash App up, here you have the Streamlab and all those wonderful things, then part 2 will come out. But now we're talking about Lucas. Now, George Lucas, thank you for the happy birthdays. The birthday was wonderful. Oh, well. Where could I go with this? George Lucas. My gosh. Lucas told you guys, and you didn't listen. I listened. Star Wars to him is about story. It's very simple. Star Wars to George Lucas is about story. That's it. Really. I'm dead serious. To George Lucas, Star Wars is about story. And that's what makes them care about the characters. But to Disney, it's about characters. And they can just make any story go around the characters. People care about the characters, not the story. And that's the difference. It is pretty simple and it is pretty laid out and it is formulaic and it explains the difference between the two. People love J.J. Abrams. What J.J. Abrams did with The Force Awakens was make a safe movie. He took a safe approach by giving them a basically a nostalgic look of the very first Star Wars and just did it with new characters. That's all that they cared about was character. Which one I agree with? Lucas, the guy who created it, of course. Of course, I agree with what Lucas has done. Lucas is 100% right. That's why if you watch the first sagas or any one of them, you can watch the prequels. The prequels was about a story. And you watched how that played out. You learned so much about Palpatine. You learned so much about Anakin. You learned bits and pieces, but a lot about Obi-Wan. You learned a lot about the characters within the three movies and the three films. And this three, we had two so far. We've learned diddly squat about any characters. We learned diddly squat about Luke. We've learned diddly squat about Rey. We learned diddly squat about Kylo Ren. We learned diddly squat about Finn. We have learned nothing. Poe Dameron, we've learned nothing. Now, the movies are entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but they don't compare to the prequels that came before it because they were more focused on a story to where there was character building. Now, in this story arc is built and set up to where the last film will explain everything in a rush. And I just hope they don't make a mistake that Revenge of the Sith made. And I felt it was the only mistake Revenge of the Sith made. It was too much left for the last film. They should have split the last film into two pieces because it was way too much. So they had to make Anakin jump into his transformation from Anakin to Darth Vader so quick that it was like, it seemed like it was effortless. Like there was no real conflict at all. Like, you are now with me now. Yes, my master. Like, I'm like, really? That quick? Now he's on the dark side? Just that quick, huh? Man, that was quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's how I view it. Others might view it a little differently, but that's my opinion on it. Well, JJ, I mean, Lucas just like, look, I'm gonna get my check. He wasn't happy with what he saw. There's a lack of originality in it, and there's if it's not gonna be original, why are we doing it? So, of course, you can have some nostalgia in it, but do your own thing. Disney is like, look, we acquired Star Wars to make us some money. We saw the potential. We didn't pay you billions. We want to sell the toys. We need new characters. We can't just sell Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker dolls all over again. That's been played. We got to have a whole new cast, whole new villains, whole new heroes. We got to sell those toys. We got to have new robots. We got to sell those toys. We got to get these. It's about characters because all Disney cares about is characters. I mean, really, have any of the Marvel movies really been great plots? No, they are selling the characters and they're selling basically the same story over and over again. But you're familiar with characters, so you go. So that works for Marvel. But not so much does that works for Star Wars. It's a whole different universe, different group of fans, and it's built on story. And as long as the story is interesting, people will go back to see it again and again and again and again and again because they care about the stories that strengthens the characters. Now, when you just got all these characters in which there's no real story, we don't know what's going on with Rey. We know she's powerful with the Force. She ain't really been trained, and if we did, we haven't seen it. We haven't really seen her struggle too much through the entire series. She really has had no struggles. But yet, for a duck out of water, she's picking it up real quick. On the fly almost. She beat a guy and bested a guy who never held a light, who held a lightsaber his entire life. And is, strong with the force and the dark side of the force. She took him out with ease. I agree.